Hello, hello, hello. This is Farewell and welcome back to Faenura episode 6. And today we're building around the Vekoma tilting coaster. Yes, I know it's another Vekoma, but I just wanted to build with this type of coaster and especially for the view we are having now. So we're gonna hop into the episode, and if you like me building another coaster, leave a like. Or maybe even subscribe, so you can see more in the future. And in the last week, a few things happened. I deleted a lot of files from my computer, which messed up Planet Zoo, what I was working on. And I lost a lot of music and stuff, which I made. The background music you hear in the videos are stuff I made. And I kind of went to inspiration low, to say. And I needed something to get me back into the game, and this is where the tilting coaster comes in. Now, this is not going to be as highly decorated as the rest of the park, and the intention was Disney Efteling, but Efteling has a precedent for that. The Python in the Efteling is just a coaster, and that's it. There's no heavy theming around it. And Baron is a coaster that is themed. There's a pre-show in there, but still it's quite bare if you look at it from the outside. And I've took inspiration from Python and this Baron coaster and combined them to make something a bit more generic, so to say. And I think even though it's generic, it still fits into the park. So let's hop in and build. I started by getting a separation between the lake and the coaster area. I needed to acknowledge the fact that the coaster was quite close up to the lake, and I decided to make this rocky outcrop. And the first thing I was thinking was maybe it's like a waterfall and I could do some water effects and stuff, and I've done that a gazillion times, and that might be a bit boring. So eventually I came up with like, well, maybe it's a dam, and maybe this is an old quarry, and this old quarry has this dam and there's a little bit of water left in it. And that's how the theming of this area started a bit. I wanted to make a bit of a quarry. As you can see, I lowered the coaster down into the ground a bit. And when you walk around, you can look into the coaster pit, so to say. And that's where the theming of this coaster started. Now, the theming is quite light for what I have done up until now for the park. But that's okay. I did not want it to be very themed. And that has to do a little bit with Burnout. Like Planet Coaster 2 Burnout. I'm going to go back to weekly episodes because I've done way too many episodes in Planet Coaster 2 in just the 3 weeks that we've got the game. But now I want to make more inspired content, and I need to give myself some time. As well, get back into Planet Zoo. Like I said at the start, I've lost a lot of files, and my current zoo I was working on does not open anymore. So I need to work on that a bit. But let's get back to building here. Yeah, just a little bit of water just seeping through the bottom, and just a bit of water into the quarry. So the idea is it's an old quarry, there's growth there, there's no mining anymore there, and just open. And I started with the queue, and immediately I got annoyed with the queue, to be honest. Making everything square just didn't work, and I decided to not fight it and just use the round bits. After raising up the ground, like you see here, I started to use the jetty pieces. Yes, I love the jetty pieces as retaining walls next to the path to keep the path intact, not slide away in a mudslide. And they work towards the theme. So I used a few of the Viking beams and just the wood to decorate the queue. Again, low theming, but still themed. After doing the queue, and I like to have the queue out of the way because I don't always enjoy doing the queue, I went to decorate our quarry just with nature pieces. I tried a few things to build in there and it just didn't work for me. And again, that might be a little bit of a build burnout speaking, but this whole project is for me to have it a bit easy, you know, have a little bit of a rest in between episodes, and this was perfect. This is a therapeutic build, so to say, and I do think that the end result is going to look really cool. And while building this fence, we had an interesting discussion on stream, and I was like, I'm trying to build a fence that's high enough so idiots don't climb over it, and where do I put the don't die fencing so it's not obnoxious in the way, because this coaster is so in the middle of the pathing. And then we looked at Efteling, and it appears Efteling doesn't do don't die fencing. Well, on a few bits it does, but for a lot of the coasters like Baron and Flying Dutchman, you can just hop a little tiny wooden fence and just be in the middle of the whole coaster area. And the only thing is that the coasters are high up enough so you can't reach them, I guess. But apparently here in the Netherlands, don't die fencing is not obligatory. We don't have laws for that, apparently, I think. So I used that as a precedent to make a lower fence instead of a really high fence. And I think that benefits the whole coaster and the whole look of this area. So I went for this stone wall, like an irregular stone wall, and used the Viking wall for that. And yeah, I wanted to get that irregular shape again, like we had in Durnholt, just to tie everything a little bit together. Have the Viking fence come back, have the irregular shapes come back, just so it fits a bit more into the park. Because the theming of this coaster is going to be way more straightforward and modern instead of what the other parts are. So yeah, I think this is a very workable fence for this area. And here is a nice overview of how the area now looks with the pine in there and the bushes and the fencing I'm now putting in. It's getting a bit of this rustic feel, and I'm really happy about it. Eventually I started placing more trees around the area, especially at the entrance area, so it doesn't have this bare look all the way through. But it just looks really good this way. I started work laying the foundations. Here's with the station, I've tried to put back some realism as well in this area, and that concrete foundation that I'm now placing helps to do that. I like these little peeks into reality, that it's not all themed totally, it's not sitting on top of rocks, which would be very unlikely. there would be a foundation, and that's what I'm building here. And this build is gonna have a few of those hints here and there that there's actually normal buildings around it. The station itself is gonna have some brick, and I wanted to shape it like a factory building. Just so it fits the area. It's a quarry. Just wanted a factory building next to it. I struggled a bit with choices here, but this is what it ended up to look like, and I'm actually quite happy with the end result, especially when it's sitting in amongst the trees at the end. It has this look about it that I really enjoyed. So here's the rough outline of the station. I left the holes in there for the windows to be in the walls, as I usually do. And after this I started to work out what needs to be done, and this is where I started on the roof, which is gonna get that classic factory shape. I already put in the window frames, but I am waiting for the 12th December update for us to get in glass, to put the glass in. But at least I already have the windows in place, like a few more places in the park that already has glass. But, already has the windows, but not the glass. So we'll get there. But as you can see, the factory is getting that classic factory feel. It's a bit of a British design, I think, this, but I also have seen it here in the Netherlands. It's late Victorian, I think, but I think it just fits. It immediately reads as tiny factory, and that's what I wanted. After putting in some dirt and gunk and detailing a few last things, I eventually wanted to make the building a little bit less square. So I added a smokestack on an angle next to the building, just so it had a bit more shape to it, instead of being a box with a jagged roof. Do you feel me too? Now for the inside of the station, I wanted a place where people can put their luggage, because it's an inverting coaster. And I remembered riding Phoenix, the wing coaster at Toverland, and they have these round baggage holders that turn around, and then depending on the train, you can your bag will show up or the other one's bag will show up. And I thought I kind of wanted to represent this inside the station as well, because it's a reasonably small station, and putting luggage bins on the floor with how the logistics of the station work and how the people move into the station would take up way too much space. So I decided to add these inside the station, as you can see here, to work as baggage bins. And yeah, I think that worked really well. Nice little detail, if I do say so myself. I also decided to cover up the booth a little bit, just so it looks a bit more interesting. Eventually using more beams and getting more of that industrial look in there. Oh, there I go with the beams. Of course, our coaster also needs maintenance. So this is me building the maintenance shed and getting a transfer track in there to make it look like the coaster can be ran into that for at night. So one coaster would be stored into the station and one train would be stored into this area, or depending on maintenance they could switch it out, of course. And that was what I started building here. Putting the roof on top was also interesting, not on this side, but on the other side. If I would have just have the roof run down like that, it would send all the rainwater down onto the track. I don't think that's a good idea. So I decided to make this overhang so water can run off into the coast area, which is basically dirt and stuff, so that wouldn't matter. I needed to add some more scenery around the area. That worked really well, just to get a bit more trees in. And like I said, this side of the area I wanted to cover up. Of course I want to cover up the maintenance shed, even though it's likely themed towards the rest of the coaster. It's still just backstaging. So I wanted to hide that a little bit and leave this open, of course. I wanted to put in 1 or 2 trees, but still you have to see the station from the path, because I think that adds to the experience as well. And inside the station I just finished everything off by trimming with some more beams, and eventually I also put in a go no go console at the front of the station, which led to a funny moment that I was like, I kind of used the air conditioner to represent machines, which I do really like to do, like I'm now doing in the area of the operator. But I also wanted to do it over here, and I remembered that for Medusa's Vengeance I used a small air conditioning to put in the buttons for the no-go, no-go, whatever it's called, the release button. But I thought it was much smaller than that. And here you can see me comparing, like, this was much smaller, right? I'm 100% sure it was much smaller. But what happened is I made the button a good times bigger. Here I'm even hauling it over to compare it. I made the buttons a bit smaller so the thing looked bigger, and this station is more made into a Blanco guest size instead of Blanco 4-meter size, and that just led to this optical illusion that it was smaller in the other station. I thought it was a fun anecdote to put in here. I did put some food and drink units in the area as well as a toilet, so we needed to decorate it up too, and I'm just gonna decorate this to that factory feel as well. I put in a bit more trimmings of metal just to differentiate it from the coaster station, but basically it's built with the same idea. I also put in the chimney from the factory just to connect the buildings a little bit more together. But as you can see, I decorated the building a bit more with metal trims, and yeah, I think it looks good. Just needed to put a roof on this thing, and our little shop area is done. I think it's fitting for the area. After that was done, I just needed to do a little bit of detailing, putting lights, a bit more trims, and that was it. Now, you may have noticed that I haven't put a sign up yet for the coaster, and does need a sign and a name. I'm gonna leave that up to you. Comment down below if you have an idea for a name of the coaster, and in the next episode I'm gonna put in that name for which one I ever choose, which one I like that is going to be in there. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Again, leave a like or maybe even subscribe if you want to see more. And I hope you guys enjoyed this little less shorter episode, and with a bit less theming and immersion, but just a super cool coaster sitting in the middle of the park, and which gives you a really great view from the lake as well. All we need to do now is ride the coaster, and I'm gonna see you guys next week. Bye bye!
I love you. I love you. I love you.